Hola clase, ¿cómo están ustedes? Hoy vamos a hacer el perfecto presente. We're going to do part 2, parte dos of the present perfect. So, make sure you have your cheat sheet, which you can find in learning modules, right above the video lesson. So hopefully this will give you más práctica. Vamos a practicar traduciendo. We're going to practice translating. Vamos a practicar escribiendo. We're going to practice writing y otras cosas también. So para repasar, to review, vamos a practicar un poquito del vocabulario. So, ¿cómo se dice to register? Registrarse. Muy bien. Me registro mis cosas. I've registered my things. ¿Cómo se dice a double room? La habitación doble, right? So for two people to have two separate beds, you would ask for la habitación doble. For a single, you would ask for la habitación sencilla. Okay, andiamo. So this next one is archaeological ruins. Las ruinas arqueológicos. Muy bien. ¿Cómo se dice to stand in line? Hacer la cola. Muy bien. One thing you'll notice when you start traveling, that standing in lines means something different to everybody around the world. And so I know, for example, in Cuba, if you leave any space in between you and the person before you, somebody will sneak in there, and there's really no rules. And so it always is so flabbergasting to me because in the United States, we are very conservative about our line forming. And once you get in line, you stay in line where you are. Some other Spanish-speaking countries I've gone to, there are no rules. And so if there's space, people jump in ahead of you. So be mindful that that could happen. And so having a lot of patience and understanding of things working not the way you're used to are really important in you having a good time when you go to travel. Okay, continuamos. ¿Cómo se dice to get on the plane? Embarcar, to embark on the plane. ¿Cómo se dice to climb? Hacer alpinismo. Subir is to climb. Hacer alpinismo is more of mountain climbing. ¿Cómo se dice customs? La aduana. ¿Cómo se dice immigration? La inmigración. Muy bien. ¿Cómo se dice a travel agent? La agencia de viajes. ¿Y cómo se dice to recover your luggage? Recoger el equipaje. Muy bien. ¿Cómo se dice ticket? El boleto. To climb, so I just said this word. Subir, to go by canoe. Pasear en canoa. To pack your bag. Hacer las maletas. To have a window seat. El asiento de ventanilla. A flight attendant. La asistente de vuelo. Muy bien. So vamos a continuar. So we worked on this in the lesson before, the present perfect. So remember, it is a compound tense in both Spanish and English. Compound tenses include two parts, the auxiliary verb and the past participle. So this verb right here comes from haber, and you need to do this part and then the past participle. So you have has, hemos, han. Words that are are verbs end with ado, estudiado, I have studied. He estudiado español este semestre. I have studied Spanish this semester. ¿Tú has comido la pizza hoy? Have you eaten the pizza today? So ER verbs end in IDO. So vamos a practicar con los irregulares. Again, this is just showing you the endings for AR, ER, and IR. And it means traveled, eaten, live. So basically it's RED, right? To give you a better concept of what it means. Y por supuesto, hay un montón de irregulares. There are a ton of irregulars. So we're just going to practice right now, see if they can come fresh in your head. Abrir, abierto. Cubrir, cubierto. Decir, dicho. Describir, descrito. descubrir, descubierto, devolver, devuelto, escribir, escrito. Muy bien. So this is what's really important. It's just a repetition, especially of irregular ones that don't follow that pattern that's easy to follow. And the more you practice them, the easier they'll come to you. So hacer, remember, this is usually what you read on the back of shirts if it was made in Mexico. Hecho, hecho en Mexico, hecho en China. Imprimir, to print. Impreso, morir, to die. El Día de los Muertos. Poner, puesto. Resolver, resuelto. Romper, roto. And ver, visto. He visto una película. I have seen a movie. Okay, so vamos a practicar un poquito. And on your cheat sheet, what I have is just these, I want you to translate them the best of your abilities. And so with the context that you're going to see, it might make it a lot easier. So these are just some memes that I had found on the interweb. He hecho un error muy serio. So if you translated this, it means I have made a serious error or a serious mistake is how you could translate it. Y tú puedes ver al gato en la botella. You can see that the cat is stuck in the bottle, or la jarra, the jar. Y sí, qué error. So he hecho, I have made. ¿Alguien ha visto a mi amigo? Has anyone seen my friend? Y es un calcetín. It's a sock buscando su pareja. A sock looking for his partner. So, ¿alguien ha visto a mi amigo? Has anyone seen my friend? And there's two reasons I'm doing these memes for you. One, because it's fun and it's a great way to learn Spanish. But then putting it in context and seeing how it can be used is going to be useful to you. And over here it says se busca, and that means like looking, right? Okay. El gato? No, no le he visto. So here actually we have the past participle, but we also have a direct object. So the cat? No, I haven't seen him, right? So lo replaces el gato. I have not seen him. Muy bien. Okay, so go ahead and translate the next one. He decidido ser feliz porque es bueno para la salud. I have decided to be happy because it is good for your health. He decidido. I have decided. Muy bien. Ha llegado el momento de la venganza. The moment has arrived for revenge. Ha llegado el momento de la venganza. Y hay 3 gatos con un perro. Pobrecito. Vámonos. El pollo se ha puesto malo. The chicken has gone bad. So puesto comes from poner. So literally it translates to the chicken has made itself bad. But we would never say that in English. We'd say the chicken's gone bad. So hopefully you guys did okay on that. So here's just some more that we're going to practice. You guys, I think you have 6 or 7 that you need to do right now. So go ahead and go through this list. What I want you to do is the verb that's in the parentheses, I want you to put it into the present perfect. So make sure that you use the auxiliary verb, he, has, ha, hemos, han, and then you change ver, and remember this one's irregular, as the auxiliary verb. So, la profesora ya ha visto un piquero de patas azules en los Galápagos. So remember, Los Galápagos son las islas, they're islands, y son de Ecuador. So the Galapagos Islands belong to Ecuador. So if you ever wanted to travel there to see Los Piqueros de Patas Azules, that you would have to go to Ecuador first and then fly or take a boat to Los Galapagos. I would definitely do that to go see Los Patas Azules, the blue feet ducks. Número 2. La mujer y su alpaca. caminar 5 miles esta mañana. So it is really often, especially in these villages outside of cities in the Andes Mountains, that once or twice a week they will walk into the village, and it could take anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. That's how far outside they live. It is so impressive that they do this walk, and they could be coming in just to get their weekly goods, and they come back. They come in on weekends and could be selling some things as well. And alpacas are indigenous to the Andes Mountains. So you have la mujer y su alpaca han caminando. So your answer would be han caminando. Caminado, excuse me. Sí, que grande alpaca. That one needs a little bit of a haircut. So, número 3. Los niños han roto la piñata. Los niños han roto la piñata. The children have broken la piñata. A piñata is Mexicano, and a lot of festivals, including Christmas, birthdays, other occasions, piñatas are a part of that fiesta. Número 4. Las alpacas. So I should have an S on the end of my alpacas. Las alpacas blank vivir en los Andes por siglos. So this is what I was just talking about, alpacas. So they have lived in the Andes for centuries. And what's really interesting about the Andean culture, women are normally in charge of livestock. And so that picture that we saw before right here, where the woman is dressed in really brightly colors, that's one of the reasons they have all these bright colors, because it's much easier to see them on the mountainside as they are herding the livestock. And so I've seen it firsthand, and it's muy increíble. So back to our sentence here. Las alpacas han vivido en los Andes por siglos. So alpacas have lived in the Andes for centuries. So I always wanted an alpaca farm. And then I found out how much an authentic alpaca costs. And I found out it can range anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 to have a purebred. Now, yes, could you get something for $400 that's not a purebred? Absolutely. So that's definitely made me think about things, and also the value of alpacas. And also just keep in mind, alpacas and llamas are what the Incas had when they were building Machu Picchu. They did not have horses or the power of horses. So how much weight do you think an alpaca or a llama could carry? If you guess 70 pounds, you're correct. So an alpaca can carry up to around 70 pounds. So actually not too much. All right, vámonos. Por fin, Elisa ha hecho el viaje a Perú. Finally, Elisa has made the trip to Peru. Peru es uno de mis países favoritos. This is one of my most favorite countries. It is absolutely mystical and magical. I'm really looking forward to sharing it more about in the next module with you, this incredible place. And I've also had the great opportunity to take 2 groups of students from N-Trip to visit here as well. Número 6. Ustedes descubrir la belleza de Machu Picchu. So, ustedes han descubierto la belleza de Machu Picchu. You have all discovered the beauty of Machu Picchu. And here, you guys, so look at, can you tell the difference between a llama and alpaca? Right here, you have a llama, right? So the hair is definitely different. And also, I was told you can tell by the tail. And I can't remember. Let me see if I can see in this one. So alpacas' tails point down, and llama tails point up. And so that's how you can tell the difference if it's really hard for you. So here, still today, after centuries, the Incans had alpacas and llamas. They still are roaming the grounds of Machu Picchu today, which is pretty cool. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is I want you to read these sentences, but I want you to figure out what the verb is in the infinitive. So what was the verb before it was changed to the present perfect? Ellos no han salido. So han salido comes from what verb? Salir, exacto. So that's all I'm asking you to do is find what the infinitive is. And ellos no han salido, they have not left. Número 2, ¿por qué usted no ha empezado los ejercicios? Why have you not started the exercises? Y el verbo empezar, which means to begin or to start. Salir means to leave. Número 3, las actrices han entrado al teatro. Entrar es el verbo, and entrar means to enter. So the actresses have entered the theater. Número 4. Pedro ha devuelto el libro a la biblioteca. Pedro has returned el libro, the book, to the library. Y el verbo es devolver. So devolver can mean to return. Volver also means to return. Devolver can also mean to become. Número 5. ¿Quiénes han vivido aquí antes que tú? Who has lived here before you? Y el verbo es vivir. Muy bien. Número 6. Berta y yo hemos sacado esas fotos. Berta and I have taken these photos. Sacar. Muy bien. So remember, you don't ever say tomar fotos. You always say sacar fotos, sacar la basura. So sacar means to take, but so does tomar. Tomar can mean to take or to drink, but you use them in very different contextos. If you're confused, that's totally normal. The more you practice it, and even if you accidentally said tomar instead of sacar, people are going to understand what you say. So don't be scared to make those mistakes and learn. Número 7. Mis hermanas han visitado Machu Picchu. My sisters have visited Machu Picchu. Y el verbo es visitar. Número 8. Yo he tomado el tren. I have taken the train. So here we have tomar. So this is a verb I was just talking about. Tomar can mean to take, but it also, if I said tomo el café, that means I drink. So depending on the context, here it means I took the train. Obviously, it wouldn't mean I drank the train. So you have to be able to tell by context how that changes the verb. Número 9. Juan ha desayunado ya. Y el verbo es desayunar. I'm going to fix that for you. So desayunar means to eat breakfast. So Juan has already eaten breakfast. So they actually have a breakfast, to eat lunch, to eat dinner. So desayunar, almorzar, y cenar. But I also can say yo como el desayuno. I eat breakfast. And so there's multiple different ways that you can say that. And just whatever one you're most comfortable with is the one you should use. Desayunar. Okay. There we go, desayunar. So that means to eat breakfast. And our last one, no he preparado para el viaje todavía. Preparar es el verbo. Okay, so what we're going to do next is I'm just going to go over the question that is going to be on your homework. And so here's your question, número 1, and I'm going to show you un ejemplo de mi respuesta. I'm going to show you an example of my answer so that maybe it will help you with yours. ¿Qué viajes has hecho durante el último año? So what trips have you taken or have you made during the last year? ¿Qué lugares has visitado? What places have you visited? ¿Y con quién viajaste y cuándo hiciste los viajes? So with who did you travel and when, with who did you travel y cuándo hiciste? When did you do the trips? So este es 2015 para mí. This was like 2015. This was my respuesta before I had children, so I haven't done as much traveling since then. But here's my respuesta. Yo he hecho mucho durante el último año. So I have done a lot during the last year. He visitado el País Baja, Belgium, Francia, España, Puerto Rico, Cayo Hueso, Peru, y Canada. So I have visited El País Baja. So actually it should be El País Bajo. So that means the low country, which translates to the Netherlands. Belgium. Francia is France. España is Spain. Puerto Rico. Cayo Hueso is the Spanish version of Key West. Peru y Canada. So this is how you would start your sentence as well. What trips have you made? You'd say, yo he hecho 5 viajes. I have done 5 trips. Yo he hecho nada. I haven't done anything. Porque lo que sea, for whatever reason it is. It can be traveling local. It can be that you haven't traveled at all. Porque la pandemia, because of the pandemic. I really don't care. I just really want you to start practicing writing. So right here I have in the past tense, yo viajé con mi esposo. I traveled with my husband. Mis amigos mejores, my best friends, y mis estudiantes. He hecho un viaje con mis estudiantes a Perú. So I made a trip to Peru with my students. Yo hice mis viajes durante vacaciones. So I made my trips, or I took my trips, is how we would translate it in English, during vacation. So you guys are going to see the same exact question on your assignment. So hopefully this will help with it. And then I'll go through and look at it and help you with your grammar if there's anything to fix. But please don't be scared to take chances. If you haven't done anything, then make up what you would have done. Please use your imaginación, right? That's the one great thing that we have that can't be taken away from us is our imagination. All right, and the second question you guys are going to have to answer is ¿Cuántas veces has salido de este país? How many times have you left this country? ¿Qué países has visitado en el extranjero? What countries have you visited that are foreign? So I said, he salido, mind you, I'm old, so I've had a lot of experiences. He salido este país más que 50 veces. I have left this country more than 50 times. Y es la verdad, it's the truth. He visitado España, Francia, Alemania, Bélgica, el País Bajo, Italia, Inglaterra, China, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Martinique, Guadalupe, Canada, Mexico, Peru, Nicaragua y Costa Rica, Gibraltar, y algunas más, and some more. So even if you haven't been anywhere to a foreign country, you can answer and say, no he salido este país. I have not left this country. But then you also could say maybe what you've done in this country. I'm totally fine with that. Or you can use your imagination and pretend that you've been to amazing places that you've always wanted to been to. So I really just encourage you to use your imagination. Si tengas preguntas, go ahead and send me an email. I'm happy to walk you through anything. Que tenga buen día y nos vemos pronto. Ciao.